Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Portland Film Production Podcast. Today we'll be doing the drama Shawshank Redemption. In this film, we see our protagonist, Tim Robbins' character, Andy, be wrongly convicted of murdering his wife and her lover and sentenced to Shawshank, in which he meets our other main character, Morgan Freeman's character, Red, apologies for that. And in this prison, they have to survive with working together and maintain their friendship against corrupt guards, the corrupt and evil warden, and what some might call him. And by doing this, have to try to keep the hope of maintaining any type of humanity, as well as the basic idea of hope in this prison that is just after them and just to destroy them in any way possible. So, I am your host, Richard Brown. Joining me today are
Patrick Bolt, the critic.
Matthew Bourgeois, the movie buff.
And there we are. You might have seen us before in our other episodes. If you haven't, you can look at those suggestion videos as well as look at the link description. So, gentlemen, get started. I would like to say that this was a film that was beautifully performed by our two main protagonists, Tim Robbins and Morgan Freeman.
Yeah, this is probably maybe one of the top movies of a fully well acted ensemble. I mean, I could go on forever about how great acted everyone, including the side of the antagonists were, but you gotta just talk about these two main characters because my God, they're so good. And of course, first of all, it has to be going said, my God, Morgan fucking Freeman.
He makes the movie.
He really does, honestly. I mean, it's Morgan Freeman.
Yes.
I mean, that's it. You just say his name, and you know it's good.
Before I was narrating about the story of the Penguins, I was narrating the story of my life with Tim Robbins in prison. I have the voice of God. It melts like through butter.
Yeah.
First of all,
to quote Ted from Ted 2, can I sleep on a mattress made of your voice?
Morgan Freeman's, has without a doubt probably the best voice of any character, and it works perfect for this narration. It sets the tone up from the very beginning once he starts narrating, and this is without a doubt, in my opinion, the best performance he's ever done. You definitely get.
There's a $1 Million Baby, in which he actually won an Oscar for his performance, but
without a doubt, this is his most well-known character. I think we can all agree with that, and introduce audiences to how great this guy was, and you can and his character is just so. It just has to go back to that damn voice. It's like you feel every emotion. He keeps like this feeling of like intelligence and wisdom, but some kind of sadness and deep hollowness that's inside of him. And it's so good with Tim Robbins, who plays Andy Dufresne, as this guy who is obviously is upset and saddened that he's in jail, but yet somehow can make the best out of this situation. He's able to just. He inspires so much hope around all the people, especially Morgan Freeman, whether it's learning how to make rocks out of his wood shavings, buying all these gigantic ass posters with Rita Hayworth, Marilyn Monroe, and Raquel, and just seeing the friendship between the two of them blossom into what it became in the story is just so perfect. And you couldn't ask for this is like one of those matchmates in heaven of where one actor works very well with the other to make good chemistry, and it worked just spectacularly well in this movie. So A+ for these two performances. My God.
Absolutely. I mean, for a while, before I saw this movie, I was aware of who Morgan Freeman was, but and also I never was able to fully grasp why it was so special. But then once I saw the movie, it clicked. It really clicked, and it was oh, so that's why it's Morgan Freeman, and this is the film that he's always going to be linked to, and that's a great thing because yes, he definitely has of course, a spectacular voice, but also the characterization itself is really good because this is a man who's been stuck in prison, and so he's fully adapted to a prison life, which is a powerful theme that's throughout the story. But because of that, when you see his interactions with Tim Robbins, you can clearly see a dynamic in which one has lost hope, but yet one gains hope, and then that like you can see how that desire ultimately is able to form their friendship because they sort of teach each other.
Right. It's almost like you have one person that's lost pretty much all his hope and is resigned to just being being institutionalized.
Yeah, and he even mentions himself
of being stuck with this. And again, that happened with Brooks's character, where he became an institutionalized man, and when he had to go back into the real world, just couldn't form. And you have Morgan Freeman, where he's become content. Yet you have, as he described, a free bird that's able to go be free. And oh my God, we're going into the birds again with Morgan Freeman. But anyways, it's like seeing that dynamic of how this guy, he does not give up, and he yearns still to be free and be on the outside. You see Morgan Freeman. It's like it's so beautiful because you see this guy who is clearly happy having a really true friend, and the other guy appreciates having a friend too. But the other guy wants to be free and get out, but Morgan Freeman is explaining how he's so much afraid. And that's another thing too, like fear of leaving your prison, leaving the trap of being in prison, which seems kind of funny. But I mean, when you're in the prison for 40 goddamn years, I mean, you'd be amazed.
That is your life. It's just the prison.
That correlates well with the theme of freedom because, like, yes, there's being trapped in an environment where you're not free, and there's that desire to be free. But then it also turns it on its head. What if it's being free yet you still feel enslaved because you're never able to fully get yourself out of what you've grown up with? Well, maybe not grown up with, but like. Again,
so much of your life.
As you're institutionalized, that becomes your reality. So like once that ends, it's like the idea of suddenly just reverting back to your normal life. That's very difficult. So it's really important to add that.
Especially because for the sport character Brooks, we forget the actor's name, but I know he's a very famous actor. I remember that. But like when he wrote him a letter, like right before it's implied that he wrote right before he hung himself, he was talking about how everyone's driving cars. When I was growing up, you rarely saw a car, and everyone's driving cars. So like him, it's like the world's changed for him to reconnect and go back to being just a normal citizen. It's an impossibility because everything has changed. Society has changed.
Yeah, society has changed.
And imagine someone who went to prison in terms of kind of modern day. Who went to prison in the 80s, and was released in 2020.
Yeah.
They would have no clue what's going on.
Exactly. I mean, now I will say though, technology within prisons have changed, so they might have been experienced and open, they get exposed to it, but to adapt to it would be really hard for them. Especially, I think it would probably be easier for them to revert back to being a criminal than to trying to.
And again, you see that dynamic because he's always contemplating how he could break his parole and go back to prison. God, it's such a beautiful film because they deal with real emotion. That's the thing that's so good about this movie. This is one of the most realistic movies of real people who have real emotions that are dealing with really. You went with emotions because in most movies like prisons, it's all about escaping. Which
right. I mean, you have from Alcatraz.
You have this famous. Of course, you've had.
The Great Escape even.
And again, you have obviously this movie features one of the best, maybe the best prison escape scene ever in a movie. With Andy, but yet this movie focuses not just on that, but it focuses on serious emotions of wanting to stay confined, and then finally, when you decide you want to break free, how it's scary, and it truly is, but once you've embraced being free, it completely changes your life, and movie fittingly, you go to Mexico where with no memories.
Yeah.
Or in Morgan Freeman's words, get busy living, or get busy dying.
Yeah, and actually, I want to touch on that was we were talking about Morgan Freeman a lot, but we haven't really talked much about Tim Robbins' character Andy. We kind of touched on him in the fact that he came in and from the get-go he wants to get out because he knows it's I didn't do it.
He's the person we're supposed to relate to. He's the everyman.
Well, I think it's both of these characters are the double-sided coin of prison. So it's the one guy who wants to break free and wants to be free and live and be living. And the other guy who wants to be confined and stay in prison and is afraid to be. And the fun thing is, it's their friendship is so good, and each one of them cares for the other. Morgan is clearly fearful that Andy's going crazy and wants to break free. That's insanity. And then Andy's afraid for Morgan that he's confined to just staying in prison and doesn't want to be free, and he's gonna stay in his shell. So. It's so good that way. What a
Yeah. Another important thing to add about Tim Robbins is because like he's a person to relate to. Slowly, you can see him like start adapting to the prison life. You see him slowly start to where it becomes like he accepts that as his new normal. And then once you have that plot twist, when you have the real truth out, and then he realizes he really is he's wrongly convicted. Then that desire for escaping comes like full force.
Well, that's not a big shock. I mean, we all know.
I know we all know that, but like it sort of reinvigorates that desire. It reignites it, and so that's a powerful moment.
It's actually kind of going to is that because it's like he came in as someone who's never been in prison, who's never done anything wrong, and then with kind of keeping he adopts new norms, he literally becomes a criminal in prison, which is something that a lot of people nowadays actually critique prison systems for. Is that when they go to prison, they become a criminal. If they're an innocent person, they're arrested, they're tried, convicted, and then they become a criminal in prison. And prison's supposed to stop you from becoming a criminal. And this one, because he gets the fake social security card, gets fake license, birth certificates, all these things through the mail, which I wonder how he got that.
It's funny.
Like, he does all these things, and then he breaks free, but then he doesn't necessarily, he gets all this money and whatnot, but then he goes and he doesn't do anything wrong after that. He goes to another country, you can't convict him there, no jurisdiction, but he leaves and he's free.
You know, it's funny, this movie was made in 1994 with, again, I'm calling 1994 the greatest year in cinema. You have your Pulp Fiction, you have your Speed, and you got your Forrest Gump, and you got this movie to top it all off. It's just great. But again, what amazed me, this movie takes place in 1994. This is a 23-year-old movie. And the setting of this movie takes place in the 1940s to 1960s. And my God, this film still feels timeless.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like,
It's timeless
definitely, there's no way that you could just tunnel your out with a rock hammer these days. I'm pretty damn sure that there's no more limestone. I don't think there's no more limestone rocks anymore. I don't think you can disguise a giant poster of Rita Hayworth and claw your way out. But
I do agree with you because I know one thing like the American public, which is audiences, they love these great escape kind of things from prison. But this one, it really does bring real humanity to the characters in terms of you have the institutionalized character, right? And you have the character who's you think he's becoming institutionalized, but he's just playing on a farce. It's just all a farce. He's actually he's got the escape plan already.
Right.
He's just waiting for the right moment, and he does. But this movie, like you were saying, it's a timeless kind of classic almost, because it's an escape. It's a prison escape movie.
Well, I think that's what makes it.
I know, but it's kind of
it adds to it.
It adds to it, and two, it's that it's just so well performed, and even with the time gap, it's because I think one thing that also really appealing is the idea of the prison system. And it's this corrupt prison system, the warden especially, and you have the prisoners who are trying to kind of deal with it, and it's just a brilliantly done movie, and let alone book by Stephen King, which I'm sure most of you already knew, but this is an adaptation of a Stephen King short novel.
No.
Yeah. Also, it's the only one that's not a horror movie. That's actually good.
No, there's a few.
There's a few, but
it's one of the few that have been adapted to a film that doesn't sci-fi.
But when I see this film, it's just I think you have to compare it to the likes of Godfather and Wizard of Oz and films like that. But I think what makes this film and all those other films timeless is you have great memorable characters aplenty. You have a great solid story at its core. You have great themes and morals that it's talking about, and the emotions are real. I mean, so many times we get characters, and I'm not disrespecting your Steve McQueen's or your Clint Eastwood's and the greatest extra, but you can theorize these are a little bit yes, they're great, a little over the top and a little bit kind of too charismatic. These are real people. You can walk right in there.
There's realism to it.
These are real emotions with real thinking people that are dealing with real problems, and I think.
And because of that, it makes you you're able to easily put yourself in their situations.
Exactly.
Because we can relate to them, the conflicts hit us much more emotionally.
I remember when I first saw the whole thing with Brooks. I almost started to tear up. It was like, wow, that's like really sad. Because like you see him, he's like this librarian with like a couple dozen books. No, just little books. The library expands, all this stuff. He gets released. He doesn't want to go, and you see him like he's really not. He has a knife to one of the other with a friend of his, and he goes and he hangs himself. It's like, my God, it's like, holy hell.
Yeah, it's like when you can. It's like a lot of movies are deemed classics, but are really not among the timeless because they play good dress up. They're able to dress up very well, but at the end of, if you strip all away the aesthetics from them, it's not really that strong of a story a lot of times, or it's a good story but not amazing. This movie has a great story and great characters, and it's kind of like if you were to strip Rogue One basically today. It's got great aesthetics, but at the center of it, not great story, and it got a few good characters, but nothing memorable.
Well, this movie, in a sense, everything's memorable.
Everything's memorable. The characters are strong. Everything's beautifully acted. The emotions are real. And then you put in good aesthetics too. And my God, what?
It proves to make it good, to have a timeless classic, and for it to be timeless, the characters also have to be timeless. And so, like, that's what this film did. That's why that's great to this day.
And my God, what a I mean, if there's one scene that I have to mention briefly, it's the damn escape scene. My God, just seeing him crawling, and I can't imagine what hell he smelled through crawling through 500 yards of pure shit. That's the length of 5 football fields. And then he crawled his way towards freedom.
And it's so weird because it was like the narration, but then it just ends in one of the most spectacularly like shot like scenes at all, with him crawling out and then just taking off his uniform and just standing there in the rain.
Well, again, it's just,
all the symbolism of
you have
that's all you need.
Well, no, that's your redemption, like rainwater. I'm being redeemed in holy water.
Washing away all everything.
Now, there's where your Stephen King comes in, but that's when Stephen King does really good. So
he knows how to do it.
So
he's an author.
It's great.
But I honestly, I think that about wraps it up.
Yeah.
It's honestly, this movie, I mean, if you haven't seen it, we couldn't recommend it enough. It's one of the best, in my opinion, best adapted Stephen King novels ever.
I just think it's one of the best movies of all time.
And let alone a movie at all. Just as a movie, but adaptation from a book, a movie, you name it. It's just great.
Yeah.
So once again, we have to wrap it up. My name is Richard Brown. I'm the host.
My name is Patrick Bull. I'm the critic.
I'm Matthew Bourgeois. I'm the movie buff.
Yep. And you have just watched another installation of the Portland Film Production Podcast. Thank you once again for watching. If you'd like to watch more of these, you can look in the description, or you can just look at other suggested videos.
And remember, if you're watching or reading something from Stephen King, you're probably in Maine.
True. Go ahead and hit that like button. It helps us out. Leave a comment. It give us more suggestions for movies and what you think else we should do. And go ahead and hit the subscribe button too. You can always use more of those. Anyway, thank you. Have a good day.